My studying law wasn't really direct, although my father was a lawyer. When I was in secondary school, I had two passions. I liked languages. I was also interested in the law. So initially, and also as a child, I was always very, very protective of the rights of those around me. I didn't like any injustice at all. So when I finished my secondary school, at that time it was quite fashionable to study languages and to work in the foreign service. So that appealed to me, and I initially went to study French for a year. But then I changed my mind. I came back and went to the law school. Basically, my father wanted me to be a lawyer, and he had a talk with some people. So when I was on vacation, he came home, and I was encouraged to consider law, which I did, and I find myself here today by the grace of God. I attempted to study French before I came to study law. When I finished in the law school in 1981, I served in the Ministry of Justice, the then Bendel State, in the legal drafting department. And after that, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. After my NYSC, I did a master's at the London School of Economics and Political Science. And when I came back, initially I wanted to teach at the law school, but that didn't work out. And eventually I joined a law firm where I practiced for about 4 years or so. And because I wanted to have more time for my family, I was looking for a different option. I found that working in chambers with a young family was quite challenging, particularly because we used to also go to work on Saturdays. So I had a friend then who was a magistrate. She's now a judge of the High Court, Honorable Justice Dayo Akintoye. At that time, she was a magistrate. We went to secondary school together, we were in university together, law school and everything. And she suggested joining the magistracy. And that was how I joined the lower bench. And then while at the lower bench, a senior judge in Lagos State at the time encouraged me to consider elevation to the High Court. At that time, I hadn't thought about it. But my name was put forward, and eventually I was appointed. From there, the High Court, I served as chairman of the Robbery and Firearms Tribunal almost from the time I was appointed. And I was doing that along with my other duties as a High Court judge. And again, along the way, I was recommended for elevation to the Court of Appeal. Now, an interesting aspect of that part of my story is that I was approached on 2 occasions, and I declined because my youngest child then was still in primary school, or she had just entered secondary school, and I knew that being in the Court of Appeal meant traveling around the country. And at that time, my husband too was working in a bank, and he traveled a lot. I felt that my home life would not be stable for my daughter. So I actually declined on 2 occasions. Then when there was another vacancy in 2014, my daughter by then had entered senior secondary school, and I felt she was mature enough to be able to cope with any disruptions. So that is how I was appointed a Justice of the Court of Appeal in September 2014. And then again, to the glory of God, on the 8th of July 2013, I was elevated as the fifth female justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. cases involving domestic violence, the area that I see that we need more improvement is in forensics. We don't do enough forensics. I know we are limited in what is available, but I believe that would assist a lot in proper prosecution of these cases. Another challenge that we have, of course, is societal, in the sense that people who are victims of these type of offenses are often discouraged from reporting the cases, or they are pressurized. And I would say that, interestingly enough, the kind of seminars we have as a result of the International Association of Women Judges, the Nigerian Association of Women Judges, is actually educating a lot of people. I attended a seminar once in Lagos where it was discussed that when there is a rape, for instance, that the effects on the victim are so they are so monumental and far-reaching that it is not in anybody's place to sort of, especially when it's a child, to just try and settle with the parents, which is what used to be done then. And at the end of that seminar, there was the head of the market women in Lagos. She attended that seminar, and she actually made a contribution, and she said that the seminar had actually educated her that her position as the head of the market women meant that a lot of these cases came to her, and she thought she was doing the right thing by appeasing the parents, making the offender maybe pay some restitution or apologize. So that is one. Another one is a situation where you have, societal again, that, oh, you want to destroy this person's life, you want to this, he is apologetic. So those sort of things, they really affect the proper prosecution of these cases. And even where you are able to convince, and the prosecution, the matter is actually filed in court, you find that sometimes they are no longer, they develop cold feet, and it's difficult to proceed. But I must also say that there's a lot of improvement. There's a lot more awareness, and gradually prosecution is improving. And I can say that at the Supreme Court, there are quite a number of cases. So as long as a case is actually pursued and followed through, usually we do get justice. And I find that many of the cases that come to the Supreme Court, we most often uphold those convictions because there is sufficient evidence to satisfy us. My advice is just be the best that you can at whatever you do. I think it's the most important thing. As long as you are consistent, you follow the rules, whatever the rules are, you carry yourself appropriately, and always be well informed. I think those are what you need to succeed, and consistency in particular. As long as you are doing well and you are consistent, you will make it. Thank you.